Good morning, friends. I haven't felt good the last couple of days because of allergies. I know a couple of my videos y'all could hear me kind of clearing my throat and coughing a little bit. And what we have right now in Tennessee is what I'm going to be referring to as the convergence of pollen. It normally happens that we have blackberry winter, or locust winter, or dogwood winter, or redbud winter, and we refer to those because that is when that particular plant is blooming. That's why we name those winters what we name them. But what has happened this year is that redbud winter, dogwood winter, locust winter, and I want to think, yes, the blackberry winter have all come at the same time. They're all blooming at the same time. And along with that blooming are also some other plants that are blooming that are high pollinators. Now, I have a lot of extreme allergies. Now, I have spent a lifetime identifying my allergens, my mimosa trees, elm trees, sycamore, ligustrum, which is the common boxwood. We call it hedge bush here in the South. My Lord, what were those people thinking bringing that from Europe? It is invasive. It's invasive. And when it blooms, it is a pungent, suffocating pollen. But so right now, due to some weird seasonal issues, like it's been unseasonably warm, and we've had some winds blowing. So we've had this stuff hanging around, and we haven't had a break in between. So the last week I have been suffering with this stuff. Now, before any of y'all blow up my thread with regional honey, local honey, I will go into another video on that, why it's a myth, and then we'll address that at a later date. But right now I want to show you how I fight the mucus and the allergies the best I can. So, what I do is I have morning coffee. And because some of our herbs do taste not unpleasant, but not pleasant, some of them have peculiar flavors that we have not been used to for many generations, because our taste buds have been damaged by the chemicals and by the false flavors that we've been inundated by. I'm going to show you how sometimes we need to camouflage our wild things. But I simply am doing this because usually in the mornings I need my brisk jolt of caffeine. When I walk into my job in the mornings, my brain needs to be functioning at high speed. So, I have my Cafe Bustelo. This stuff is high octane. I like black coffee. I like Cuban coffee. I don't pussyfoot around with my coffees. I want something bitter and strong. That's how I like my chocolate as well. I don't mess around and drown it in sugar and creamer. That's for sissies. I did when I was younger, but I've realized that all that stuff is just a dilutant, and a lot of that stuff now has chemicals in it. We don't need that. We don't need that mess. So, I've got my Cafe Bustelo in here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my herbs. And what I do, this is a little single serve coffee maker. I make me one little jar of coffee. And I'm going to tell y'all something. The little mason ball jars, you can change them out in almost anything. Now the coffee cup that came with that is this right here, but it had one of those lids on it that you drink from. Well, as I'm driving and stuff, I don't drink when I'm driving, and I'd spill it and leak all over my uniform and everything. So as usual, I find a use for that, and then I can just screw my lid on and go. So back to what we're doing. And y'all are going to have to be patient with me because I've got so much mucus in my head. Sleeping was hard. So, I've got my mulling. Y'all, I will be doing an intensive, probably 3 or 4 mulling videos back to back. Mulling is probably my second favorite after the lactucas, the verosa plants, and it has saved me. Between it and the verosa, that has been the healing of my lungs. It also is a pain reliever. But right now what I'm using it for is for the drying up of the mucus. It thins it. It is an expectorant. It's also an anti-inflammatory. I use this all throughout the winter. And so what I'm doing is I'm tearing the leaves. Now, the leaves are where our chemicals are. And we want as much surface area for our chemicals to get out. So that's especially in these thick stems on the mullein and the lactuca plants. And I'm saying lactuca plants because I've got a lactuca video to update y'all on. I'm going to have to mail away some samples of these plants that I've got because I've got even more. And I'm going to get a definite ID on all these plants from the University of Tennessee at Knoxville. I've just got so many different plants. I need clarification. So I probably put right at a teaspoon, maybe a little bit more than that, of the mulling in there. And I'm sorry, y'all, for all of the mucus noises. Okay, now this is my usnea. Now, usnea, I have done some videos on it. This is a powerful antibiotic. It fights gram-positive bacteria, such as strep and pneumonia. So, I love the taste and the smell of this. Growing up with a wood-burning heater, this is that smell, that woodsy smell. And in Asia, they use this plant as that flavoring for the food, and they call it umami. It's a warm, woodsy flavor when they want to add that to their food. It's also an emulsifier. It thickens the food. And then you've also got the benefits of it being an antibiotic, along with antiviral and all the other antis that we have. Now, I have in this, I have powdered usnea, and I have 3 different kinds of usnea in different jars. Now, this is my cornuta. This is the old man's beard. This is the fine usnea. And so I'm just going to tear apart some of that in there. The reason why I'm not using my powdered usnea is I use that when I stir in my soups. I actually used a teaspoon of it in the coffee once it was brewed, my first cup. And I use it in soups. It is a wonderful flavoring in chicken soup and vegetable soups and in miso soup. It's a wonderful flavoring. So I've just pinched off a few little pieces in there. I had evidently given all my lamb sear away. Now we're going to be doing several videos on lamb sear. This stuff is a powerhouse as well. I had to really go and search out information on this, because this is again one that my mama raised for its pretty lavender flowers and its fuzzy ears, and never knew anything about its healing medicinal qualities. So now that I know, I've got a whole mess of it out there, and I have made actually a salve out of it that I use for a little spot on Yoda's ear, and you can actually make female suppositories for it. No, don't you come over here. Get in the window if you want to lay on the window, and that's fine. That was me speaking to Yoda. He is, it's sunny today. We have had horrible weather. We've been in the middle of this rain that was going in a circle right around us, and it was cold. We had 80 degrees, and then the temperature just bottomed out once the rain started. It got down to 33 degrees, and I had frost on my window a couple of days. Okay, now I've got that pretty pack full. Y'all can see how full I've got that packed. Now, I don't use those weird little Keurig things. Even if I had a Keurig, I wouldn't use it. I actually did this at work when we had a Keurig. I use a coffee filter like this. I twist it at the top. I just place it down in there like like that. Oh, gotta pour my water in. Okay, now while that's brewing, we're going to touch on the honey, the local honey myth. Okay, now I'm not disparaging local honey, because local honey is very important, and I buy local honey when I can. The only person I will purchase mine from, and there are several people locally, but just because he was my friend from first grade and he lives at the old home place, well, right down from the old home place, I just can't get to them enough. And it's not in stores. It's not carried in stores. A lot of times local honey is not in this area. You've got to go to the farmer's market and stuff, and the way I work, I can't arrange that. But bees only get their pollen from certain plants and flowers, certain ones. And it is not generally from tree blooms or bush blooms. Now, a lot of people are, not a lot of people are allergic to clover. Well, bees usually gather their pollen from clover. They normally gather their pollen to make their honey from low-growing plants, from bushes and lower. Now, elm and sycamore are some of the most insidious allergens that we have, and when it's allergy season, those are the ones that affect people the most. So, there's your first little little view on the pollen, on the local honey myth. And now I've gone 15 minutes. I didn't mean to. So, I've showed y'all how to make you some healing coffee. Remember, you can mix your herbs with anything else to camouflage the taste if you want to. You're going to get, it's kind of like the Mary Poppins, a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down. And so any way that you can get your wild things and your herbs and your natural medicines into you, do that. Do it your way. You don't have to get them in a capsule, although you can if you need to. You can order them if you need to. Don't you ever be shamed to feel like, because you're ordering them from Amazon or you're getting them from Walmart, that you're doing less than. Because you're not. You are embracing a natural way of living the best you can. And I just despise when I hear people judging and saying, well, you know that stuff's not natural. Well, what do you think it is then? It is the best that people can do until they can do better. And so, so please, if the only way that you can get any of these plants, any of these herbs, is by ordering the pills or the supplements from Etsy or Amazon or going to Walmart, please do so. It is, I applaud you for doing that. And until our next video, which I will now segue into about the honey, goodbye.